Hello and welcome back to this series of videos previewing the British and Irish Lions tour games against the Australian Super Rugby franchises in 2025. My name is Hugh, and in these videos we are deep diving the opposition the Lions will be facing. We're getting to know their history, we're identifying their best players, we're naming their key strengths, and most importantly we're pinpointing their weaknesses. If you like the sound of that, please consider subscribing to the channel. We've seen loads of growth on this channel in the last few weeks, and I would love it if you were along for the ride as well. Today we are talking about the New South Wales Waratahs. Now it's nothing like North Wales, it's like South Wales. Based in Sydney, the Waratahs were founded in 1882, making them, along with the Queensland Reds, one of the two oldest teams in Australian rugby. In fact, it's no coincidence that these two teams were founded in the same year, because the moment of their founding was them playing against each other. And Queensland versus New South Wales is one of, if not the, biggest sporting rivalry in Australia. The Waratahs won the Super Rugby title in 2014 under Michael Checker. The Waratahs name derives from the flower that they use as an emblem. Currently coached by Dan McKellar, they finished 8th in the 2025 Super Rugby table. They won 6 games and scored 46 tries, which is actually the fewest out of the 4 franchises. Let's talk about their key players. Now you're going to spot a trend here. Their top carrier was Langi Gleeson. From 182 carries, he got 67% gain line success and was second overall for carries in Super Rugby this season. Their most evasive player was winger Max Jorgensen. He got 47% tackle evasion. Their top try scorer was Langi Gleeson. He got 5 tries along with Tristan Riley, who got the same number. But Gleeson was the top for try involvements with 8. But their top defender was Langi Gleeson. He got 152 tackles this season with 92% success, 13 dominant hits and 5 turnovers won. Very impressive. For top defender, I could have also gone for Charlie Gamble. He got 148 tackles this season with 93% success. So fewer tackles, but with better success, and 8 turnovers won. So straight away there, we're seeing that they are very dependent on one player. You know, I can imagine that their Player of the Season award was very straightforward. Let's move on to team stats, and I'll be very honest with you, it was difficult to find positive stats for the Waratahs this season. They were second top for tries off turnover in the world. That's Super Rugby, United Rugby Championship, Premiership top 14. They were the second best out of any of those clubs. They were third best for lines breaks converted to tries in the world, but that sometimes can be inflated by the actual number of line breaks that you make. If you don't make very many line breaks, but the ones that you do make, you score, then that makes your percentage look very good. So we'll come back to that in a minute. They were second top for dominant tackles in Super Rugby this season. They were also second top for short passes. So that tells us about the shape that the Waratahs play with. They like to keep it tight. They were also second for committing 2+ tacklers. That's also indicative of a team that likes to keep it tight and get some big ball carriers going. Now, I'll be honest, none of those stats are particularly anything to write home about. They're not especially stand out in anything. But when it comes to bad stats, they do have quite a few weaknesses as a team. So when it comes to clean breaks, they have the fewest in Super Rugby. And when I said before that your percentage can be high if you don't make very many of something, that's what's happening here. They don't make many clean breaks, but when they do, they tend to score off them. They have the fewest meters made of any team in Super Rugby. They have the fewest defenders beaten of any team in Super Rugby. They are the worst for tackles missed, leading to line breaks. So when they miss a guy, they normally break the line. They have the worst dominant carry percentage in the world for a club side. They have the worst gain line success in Super Rugby. They have the worst more meters per game in the world. They have the second worst tries off kick return, so when people kick to them, they don't score off that, which is a trend growing at the moment in rugby, is scoring tries off kick return. And they are the second worst in Super Rugby for 22 entries against leading to a try, so when people get to their 22, they normally concede a try off the back of it. Bad stats. Honestly, looking at these stats and these facts and figures, I don't really understand how the Waratahs managed to win 6 games this season. Looking back on their season, they had a very favourable beginning to the season in terms of the teams they were facing, all at home, and they won their first 3. They had a remarkable win against the Chiefs, who ended up making the final of Super Rugby this season. That was a big shock, and that was big news at the time. And then they had a golden point win later on in the season. So Super Rugby doesn't believe in draws, doesn't let them happen. So in any other league, they would have had 5 wins and a draw, but in Super Rugby, they went to overtime, they played extra time, and it was basically next score wins, and they won that. Their average scoreline this season was a 23 points to 32 defeat, palindromic scoreline klaxon. And back in 2013, when they last faced the Lions, it was a 47 points to 17 loss. The try scorers for the Lions on that day were Johnny Sexton, Lee Halfpenny got 2, Tom Croft got a try, Jonathan Fox Davis also got a try, and Lee Halfpenny also kicked 9 out of 9 attempts on goal. And I believe Lee Halfpenny set the record for the most points scored in a game by a Lions player in this game in 2013. I hope I've got that right. If I've not, let me know in the replies down below. So as I said, it's quite hard to find positives for the New South Wales Waratahs this season. They are quite a poor team, and to be honest, a lot of their stats are worse than the Western Force, who actually finished below them in the table. So I would say from a selection point of view that Andy Farrell should go maybe weaker for this one, maybe experiment a bit more, maybe some of the players you don't expect to make the first test team. Of course, traditionally for Lions, this being a weekend game, you see that the weekend team is the strong team and the midweek team is the weak team. But I think on this tour, because of how the fixtures have worked out, I think the midweek team should probably be the strongest one, and the weekend team should maybe be the weaker one, because I think the Force and the Waratahs are probably the 2 most winnable games on this tour. But as always, that's just one person's opinion. Let me know what you think is going to happen in this game in the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.